What's going on, paisanos? V here. Today's a bit of a weird day because I actually have two market watches. The first one is the current market watch you see here. We're going to talk about meta cards. We're going to talk about what happened after the YCS Chicago and to some of these cards on this list and are the prices moving up, moving down. And then the second market watch I'm going to do, I'll probably upload later on. We're going to talk about cards that really didn't see much play but still have value. Or cards that saw some play but are they worth the value? So we're going to ask two different questions on two different market watches, two different times, today. Anyway guys, before I begin, I just want to say thank you to all my Patreons. Guys, if you're not a Patreon, please make sure to check the links below. Join up, become a Patreon. Also, if you guys have a question you want to ask me at the end of your video, at the end of my market watches, I do a comment question. You guys put a question down below in the comment section, and I'll answer it. So definitely hit that up. And since you're already down there, hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. Anyways, let's begin with the market watch, guys. So we have Thunder Dragon Colossus, and definitely one of the most big decks throughout this event, especially near the end of the event, was Thunder Dragons. In the beginning, we saw a ton of Sky Strikers that quickly fell off. A lot of decks started coming out of nowhere, and for the most part, it was mostly Kaijus that were really putting the Sky Strikers in a really bad position. Every deck was prepared to play against the Striker matchup as well as the Ultigeist matchup. In my opinion, those were the two most heavily sided against decks throughout the YCS. Look at Thunder Dragon Colossus, its price point was $50. The market price showing this card to be about $52. Looking down here, you got unlimited at $55, and the first edition starts hitting about $57 to about $59, almost near $60 for Thunder Dragon Colossus, a card you desperately need 3 of if you're looking to run Thunder Dragons. Up next, Orchestrated Return. Now this card saw almost no play at the YCS. We saw an Orcus deck, but we didn't see no play at all, to be honest with you. Market price showing this card be about $12, and that's what it is. It's at roughly around $12. First edition's almost near $13. The only reason I have it on here is because it's still maintaining a high price for first edition. It increased by $1. And the weird thing about this is it doesn't really see as much play in most Orcus decks, but yet it's still went up in value because Yu-Gi-Oh players looked at the OCG. And I guess those Yu-Gi-Oh players made their decks based on that, which use Orchestrated Return. But what we're seeing here is a different version that runs like Danger cards, which is really popular here in the TCG. Up next, Chaos Dragon Levianeer. Market price on this card be about $12, and yeah, first edition is roughly around $13 actually. Next one after that's going to be hitting around $13 as well, and for the most part, it's $13. This card was really low for one point, roughly around $8, and now it's moved up to near $13 because it's starting to see play in Thunder Dragons, and I think the card is just starting to see play overall. Even though BLS is in the meta, if you can make this card, Yu-Gi-Oh players are opting to play this card over BLS. Up next, we have Dangerous Tsuchinoko. Now, all Dangerous in general, but looking at Tsuchinoko, it's really interesting to see what happened with this card's price point. $48 for this card is the market price, and we're seeing it roughly around $51. This card is spiking higher and higher and higher in value. In fact, all the Dangers are really going higher in value. Look at, I think, the Jackalope. This is another card with a $23 market price, and we're seeing it here roughly around $24 to $25 actually, not $24. $25 for Danger Jackalope, for an ultra rare for Cybernetic Horizon. All the Dangers are being used. We see so many. If we could take Dangers, and for the most part, we're coming at this weird thing where besides seeing like Danger Orcus, Danger Thunder Dragons, people are playing pure Dangers, and that's a real deck now. And I really didn't think that could be, but with the release of all these new Danger cards, Yu-Gi-Oh players was making a huge aggressive Danger build, and for the most part, at this YCS especially, it's working. Now moving forward, guys, looking at Prank Kids, their price point is roughly around $12. Doodle Doos are still around like $5 to $6. For the most part, Prank Kids didn't really do much with that one kid who just wrecked everybody. We saw one Prank Kid deck just wash through everybody. I think that's a surprise for a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players. A very well-informed Prank Kid player who knew what the side and knew what the meta was and based his deck around that. And he did phenomenal. I think he went undefeated day 1 if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure how he did on day 2, but for the most part, Prank Kid's really ripping it out there and just winning all these games. And this deck is going low in value. Prank Kid's place used to be $20 with the initial hype of Prank Kids, and now we're seeing the Prank Kids place at $12 for this card. The rest of the Prank Kids card, besides like Doo, which this person I think he played 2 of, is about $5 to $6, and everything else is under $1 for Prank Kids. It's really interesting to see this deck actually still play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh. Moving forward, guys, Lunar Lights. My favorite thing about Lunar Lights is how the market preemptively jumped on Lunar Light Fusion. This card hit a high of $15 yesterday, almost near $20 by the way. There was only like 3 listings, and everyone ran in here and grabbed all the Lunar Light Fusions thinking this was used in a deck. I believe it was on Zodiac Duelist, you know, the bastion of, you know, You know, those kids. And they were like, yeah, Lunalight Futures using the deck, guys. Buy it out. And then some idiot, well, I mean, majority of Yu-Gi-Oh players bought it out from probably, like, random Yu-Gi-Oh players, vendors. Oh, by the way, I was one of them. Thank you for buying my Lunalight Futures. I'll be shipping yours out today promptly. But yeah, it just got bought out, and it's not even used in the deck. Look at the other Lunalight cards. Lunalight Panther Dancers are roughly around $5. Saber Dancer, which is a phenomenal card, is about $3. Serenade Dance, I think the kid played one of these. It's about 2 after that, it's near $4. And there's only 5 prices, so keep that in mind. For the most part, nothing else really for Lunalights itself is worth money. Congratulations to the kid who did win with Lunalights, and sucks for everybody that lost to Lunalights. Really weird. Moving forward though, looking at 5 Formation Tanky, another card that the deck plays. Market price on this card to be about $35. And we're seeing it roughly actually at $32. After that one's gone, it's $39. After that one's gone, we're talking high 40s, $43. And the page ends with it being around $55, but there is a wall roughly around $45. So keep that in mind. 5 Formation Tanky, currently, there is literally just one at $38. After that, you got 4 over here at 42. So it's really weird with the price point with 5 Formation Tanky. And I think the reason, and this card used to be $20, by the way. The reason why this card spiked so high in value, because random Yu-Gi-Oh players in the market was like, screw it. Ulti Tanky from AP3 is a good card. It's gonna have playing a meta. And you know what? You're right. Those who did buy it at $20 is now holding cards roughly around $38. That same play in Lunalights. Can we call this a meta deck? I think we could consider Wonder YCS. I'm gonna call it a meta deck. Anyway, 5 Formation Tanky is a card that the deck runs at 3. Moving forward, Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Tide King is a phenomenal card. Market price on this card be about $4. Now, there was some Fire Fist hype before, and the card initially went up in value and it's cooled back down. And I think we're about to see it go back up in value. Ulti Tiger Kings are hitting roughly around 7s. For first editions, you're looking about $20. A little bit of a difference. So anyone who wants to get this card early as possible, you want to get it quickly, it's $7. After that, if you want a first edition, that's where it's going to cost you $20. Page does bottom out roughly around the $20 mark. So it's kind of safe to say that this is just the price right now, especially first edition, is just hype. It will go back down in value. It will cool off, but we just have to wait right now and see. Next, Fam Knights of Rusty Bardiche. This card is slowly going up in value, and it's really weird because it's only found in the Legendary Hero decks. You know, the Legendary Hero decks that have almost no value. Konami, just, you really could have made this have more value. Anyway, looking at Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardiche, market price going to be almost near $5, which it is. It's almost near a $5 card. In fact, there's tonsies in the market. After this one sells, there's 3 walls. Cumulatively, 24, 44, and 41, the card's still $5. So it'd be really weird to see this card go anywhere beyond $5 in the future. Could it? Sure. I don't think it's going to. But it definitely did see play along with cards like Silent Boots, which is roughly around almost near $4 for the secret rare. And it won't be too long before this card actually hits near $5, which the next wall will be holding this card roughly around the $5 price point for Silent Boots. Fog Blades also going up in value. Now, Battle Legends Fog Blades, the secret rares, it's about $6. The ultra rares, they're actually at 7s from the original print, and the commons, they're at 5s. $5 Phantom Knight Fog Blades. You can spend $2 more for secret rare, but come on, it's common. It's funny. Listen, Phantom Knight's Fog Blades is definitely a good card, and some decks did use it, but other decks like the Pendulum deck, that top, it didn't play it whatsoever. It mostly utilized Silent Boots and Rusty Bardiche to get that other card, which I don't... Oh, hey, here we go. We did it. We got Magic Launch. This is the card I really searched out to go into Kuga. I can't even say that card name right. And it'll be a while before this card gets bought out and goes high in value. You know, 235 wall. It's going to be a while before this card makes any moves in the market. Can we call YCS Chicago the return of Spear Mode? Because I feel like we should call YCS Chicago the return of Spear Mode. Look at this card. It's actually starting to come back into the meta. It was dead forever, and now it's making its way back into the meta. And the ultra rares are roughly around 11s, and the super rares are hitting near $4. And I ain't gonna lie, I have none of these. I think I'm gonna buy the ultra rares. They're kind of cheap right now. $11 for an ultra rare. It just looks a little bit higher, maybe a little bit nicer. Super rares look nice as well, by the way. And rarely I say that about 2 rare variances, but it really does. I'm honestly and truthfully about this. They both look good. Moving forward, guys, Borderlord Savage Dragon definitely saw play at the YCS, and not just in Pendulums. Other decks actually played Borderlord Savage Dragon. The price point of this card is roughly around $22, and we're seeing right here in the market for about $22. Now, I think it's still going to go lower in value. Looking over here, this guy has about 10 of them. There's 12 of them, roughly around a $22 price point. It wouldn't be surprising to see Borlo Savage Dragon dipped down more in value. The card's still good, it's just not as good and not seeing as much play to maintain this high value. So it would definitely decline in value. Moving forward, World Legacy Guard Dragon is another card. We saw World Legacy Crusadia in the top tables throughout the weekend. Unfortunately, none of them got near enough to like the top 8, but still, this deck was being seen play throughout the weekend. Top tables. Crusader Guard Dragons definitely putting their mark on every Yu-Gi-Oh player they're playing against. I think one of the best matchups for this deck is Sky Strikers, which is one of the most prevalent decks at the event. So it kind of worked hand in hand, because you play this deck against Strikers, they do all their shenanigans, and you're like, here's a Kaiju, by the way, die. And that's literally what this deck did, and it was really interesting to see that. Market price of this card is about $6.59, and it's about $6.50. It's almost near $7, but for the most part, it'll be about a $6 card. The thing about this card is some builds run 3, some builds run 1, some builds run 2. It's really all over the place as far as how many of this card that most builds run. There's a deck list online that ran just one of these cards. During the pre-release, this card was roughly around $10. It is going down in value. Moving forward, World Legacy Succession, another card that's, I think the deck ran one of these, if that. And not many decks really ran this card throughout the weekend. But it doesn't matter. The market price on this card would be about $12, and looking at it, it's actually around $15. For a card that was originally $10 for a good amount of time, it's actually went up higher in the market. It's really interesting to see that. Up next, Bingo Machine Go. It had nothing to do with Yu-Gi-Oh meta. I just want to give you a heads up and let you know that Bingo Machine Go, market price is $32, and it's not that. It's actually almost near $40 for Bingo Machine Go. Now, this card hasn't seen those kind of prices since when it first came out in Legendary Duelist, White Dragon Abyss, but it's slowly getting bought out. I guess Yu-Gi-Oh players, collectors specifically, are just going after this card. Moving forward, Sky Strikers, one of the most heavily represented decks at this event. In fact, I think it was the #1 represented deck. And then after Top Cut, post-Swiss, this deck was going almost nowhere. In fact, not many decks, Sky Striker decks made it to the top 8. It just is what it is. It's still a phenomenal deck. It's still full power. But with, you know, allowing Kaijus in the meta, even more. I mean, we always had Kaijus, but I guess with the Kaiju spell, which most decks didn't even run, they just ran the Kaijus. Yeah, it was crazy. It's really put the damper on Sky Strikers, and we've seen that here in the meta. Now, look at the prices of Engage, which is roughly around $55. We're looking at over here roughly around $47. A little under its market price. In fact, I think Sky Striker Engage is going to start going lower in value. Looking at Widow Anchor, another card. It's lower in value already. Market price on this card would be about $28. This was near $35. And we're seeing it here for roughly around $26. And this is within the, like, you know, last Thursday, Friday prices. And now looking at it now, it's just going lower. I think it's going to continue to go lower. I think Strikers is still a good deck. I think they're still a meta deck. And if you don't plan against them, you're going to easily lose to them, because the deck can easily just rip you apart with cards like Engage and Widow Anchor. But I think Sky Strikers pure might have a hard time. And I think any Sky Striker player has to ask themselves the question of, how do I combat this new meta of all these decks? One great thing about this YCS is that we saw a diverse amount of decks. Still running a lot of dangers, but if it takes a lot of danger to be running these decks for us to have a diverse meta, I'll take it. Will you? Moving forward, guys, looking at Infinite Impermanence, a card that saw play in some decks, I'm not playing others. It was, once again, this card, not long, last meta was a 3 of in every deck, no matter what you played. You played 3 Infinite Impermanence, unless you ran a deck that ran like seconds late. We're looking at Infinite Impermanence, some decks ran it, some decks didn't. It actually didn't see as much meta play. As far as the market price, showing it to be about $91, it doesn't matter. This card's still a $95 card. And that's something to say for a card that, for the most part, didn't see much play, but is still maintaining value. And the question you have to ask yourself, if you are holding Infinite Impermanence, which is a $95 card, is, do you sell it? Do you not sell it? Are you playing Altergeist Subterrors that just definitely need it? Well, Subterror is the one at top 16. I'm not sure. I think you played 2, I think. I could be wrong. But anyway, do you really play it, or do you not play it and sell it? $95 is probably the peak of Infinite Impermanence. I would take a guess and say that Infinite Impermanence has now fully hit its peak and will start going down in value. So you should sell it if you want the money, or if your main deck plays it, I would sell it. I would sell it to get rid of it. Or if you do play it, make sure it puts in that $95 worth of work for each fucking activation. I mean, damn, that's a lot of money. Up next, Mythical Beast Shackle King, another card that has a price point of roughly $10. We're seeing it over here almost near $12 for Tradition. A little over, almost near $13, I'm saying, for Mythical Beast Shackle King. And Pendulums actually is a cheap deck. And even though Shackle King is an expensive card, which you need 2 of, Pendulums have a lot of they're a very inexpensive deck that you don't need to run that many money cards in. So if you're looking to play an inexpensive meta deck, well, here's Pendulum Magicians. Literally, here's a deck. It's cheapest. It's super cheap. It doesn't. The build at top 32 didn't even run Pot of Desires, which is insanely overpriced. Super rare. Ultra rare is hitting almost near $5 for Pot of Desires. It ran like a lure, which has been reprinted common and super rare over and over and over again. It's a relatively inexpensive deck, so I expect to see a lot of Pendulum Magicians in our meta, actually, because there's one deck. I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. And if you're looking to play Yu-Gi-Oh, you might want to look for, one card. I spelled things wrong. Dimensional barrier. Like, you might want to get this. You can get, Ghost Reaper, but D-Barriers is a trick. And obviously, you know me, original print first edition D-Barriers, market price showing this card to be about $4. Unlimited under 4, and for first edition D-Barriers, you're looking almost near about $5 for first edition D-Barriers. Get this card. Play against Pendulums, flip it against Pendulums, and just win the game. Especially if you're playing any kind of aggressive deck that can OTK, you win the game. Up next, guys, Inspector Border, almost sitting near $7. It's near its market price. In fact, the original print is at $7 for Unlimited for Inspector Border. For a first edition, it's almost near $9 for Inspector Border, as you can see over here. And the reason this card's so good, because now it's not just Ultigeist, it's just a ton of other cards in the meta. In fact, Subterrace can run Inspector Border. They, for the most part, don't care about the extra deck. And bringing out Inspector Border after having a Guru on board, it's almost a guaranteed win. Moving forward, guys, look at Yugioh Skuldred, another card that saw some meta play this weekend. 2018's market price is $22.50. We're seeing at 25s. The Extreme Force version is actually hitting almost near 27s, above its $20 market price. And yeah, so Yugioh might be a good target to get hit in the ban list. Wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. Up next, guys, Tricksters. One of the decks that saw a decent amount of play, definitely caught a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players off guard this weekend with the release of Trickster Korriban, a card $7 above its $6 market price. This deck is seeing a lot of play. Now, obviously, you got the Battle Legends Revenge version, which is around $6 under its $7 market price. But when we go down here to the original print versions, they're actually higher than their market price of roughly around $8 for reincarnations. And you have to ask yourself, is Tricksters going to be meta? Should you prepare for them? Have you? Do you know how? Can you play against them? Can you beat them? The weird thing for me about Tricksters is we have Thunder Dragons, which is like the perfect deck to go, oh, Tricksters, activate reincarnation and see what happens. Like, that's what the card says. And Tricksters still are making the top tables. So it'd be really cool to see what happens to the future of this deck. I think this deck's gonna fall out of favor, but then again, I thought this deck was not gonna see play at all at the YCS and was proven incorrect. Moving forward, Cyberload Fusion. If you're looking to play Cyber Dragons, this card's roughly around $3. You just need one, but you want to get your hands on it because, you know, it's dwindling. Only 3 pages, by the way. Just want to give you a heads up on that with my Cyber Dragon friends. Boot Sector Launch was another card that was bought before the YCS was bought out. Look at the market price of this card. It's roughly around $2. First edition's actually $8. After that, it hits near $9 relatively fast. I don't know why. I have nothing on this. But if you have it, sell it. It's a card from Extreme Force. Up next, Red Reboot. Probably the most sided deck card throughout the weekend was Red Reboot. I get easy mode, side deck card, you just threw in your Red Reboot. Market price showing this card to be about $3, and we're looking over here, first edition, and Unlimited is the same price. $3 for Red Reboot. Wouldn't be surprised if KONAMI makes a reprint of this card in the near future. Now, here's the funny thing about YCS Chicago. There were not many Ultigeist throughout this event. In fact, Ultigeist wasn't really as prevalent as it has been seen in previous events, regionals or YCS events. So when I see as an Ultigeist player, Ultigeist in the top tables, that's pretty interesting. I go, huh? There's a lot of Ultigeist out there. Now, I don't know if that means Ultigeist can still show meta relevance due to the fact that Red Reboot is a card in our meta, and we have a lot of these OTK decks that run dangers and just wash the field quickly, or if it means that Yu-Gi-Oh players are just to the point where they know about Ultigeist already and they're done with it. And I got my other question for everybody out there: that if you are playing Ultigeist, are you thinking about playing Subterra Guru Control? Because I feel like we have to, as an Ultigeist player, we have to switch our game plan, and that means we might have to switch our deck. Now, Guru Control and Ultigeist are the same deck, and they both have an inherent weakness, Red Reboot. So I want to know, are you still playing Ultigeist if you have played it previously? Are you playing Guru Control? Or are you just abandoning the decks in total and moving forward to another deck? Personally, I have both decks, and I'm still looking for other decks because Yu-Gi-Oh! Very diverse meta, and it's kind of fun. Next, guys, Kaijus. Well, yeah, I mean, look at Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, which almost saw no play this weekend, but still going high in value. The card's priced at about $9. The Kaiju War Machine, I'll talk about my other market watch, but look at that Gamer Seal, stabilized in price. Even the Super Rare Gamer Seal, which is a little bit higher than its market price, but stabilized to a Super Rare price point. Regular Gamer Seals, they're at $5, almost near $6. Or any version. Looking at all the rest of the Kaijus, they're for the most part stabilized in price. Kaijus are cheap to get right now. I think a lot of you players are just bagging them all up because if you have a deck that mains Kaijus, well, you want to play Strikers because the minute they go Ray and they end their turn with double whatever, like double Widow Anchor and like, let's say they get that engage back from the graveyard and had that set in the field, you go Kaiju, well, that's it. They do nothing. They have an Ash, maybe Ogre, and then you just win. So that's why I think we're seeing a lot more Kaijus being played in the main deck to stop Strikers. Moving forward, Denko Seka, another card that saw a lot of play throughout this weekend. Prices of Denko Sekas are now $5. Unless you're running new challenges, which is around $4. But if you're running Mega Pack, I guess it's $5. And most importantly, the Secret Rare from Bowser Legends, which is like a $1, $2 card. Which is roughly around $5 actually for this card. And there's a ton of them over here. And remember, I keep showing you this card. Probably in the past couple of months, I've been showing this card over and over again because we started off with Denko Seka Secret Rare, with just walls all over the place, and there's none now. I mean, you got 10 wall, but that's at roughly around the $7 price point, and the price point of this card ends around $11 from its initial $2 price point for the Secret Rare, currently at $5. Denko Seka is starting to see a lot more play, and I think it will continue to see play because the card's amazing. It's just summon, no back row, and I murder your face. The card. Next, Seka's Light. Another card that's not only, you just only see play in like Burning Abyss, but now we're seeing Seka's Light see play in a lot of other decks, including the Orcus Danger deck that ran a playset of this card. Ran no spells, including Orchestrated Return. Looking at Seka's Light's price point is roughly around $3, almost hitting near $4. 25 prices available. It's a relatively new card from OTS Pack 9. It's a super rare. Obviously came out as a rare, but high rarity. And looking at it, guys, there's not many walls. There's a bunch of one-ofs. Going on page 2, there's a 9 over here around the $4 price point. It's 6, 8. Nothing too crazy as far as Denko Seka's price point. The page just bomb out roughly near the $10 price point, which it'll be a while before it gets there. But being the fact that this card's Pot of Greed and it cycles in graveyard, so it's a better Pot of Greed. It's really interesting to see that, you know, this card's pretty good, and I guarantee you we'll see more decks using this card. But moving forward, I wouldn't be surprised if this card gets hit in the ban list at all. Yazi is another card that saw some play throughout this weekend. We thought with the ban list, previous ban list, we're not going to see no more of that Yazi combo. Wrong. Yazi's still seeing a significant amount of play. Ultimate Rare Yazis are around $16, higher than a $9 price point. The Megaton Yazis are around $9 to $10, and the original Prince Secret Rare Yazis are also around $9, up from their $5 market price. This card keeps going higher and higher in value because it keeps showing more and more relevance in the meta. Moving forward, out of entities, another thing that was seeing a lot of, shockingly a lot of play. Now, Nylar is a secret rare as well as Azathoth. Both came in Child's Valhalla, but Azathoth was, I guess, the harder one to pull. In fact, I looked through my store and I cracked a ton of Child's Valhalla, and for the most part, I have a ton of Nylar, but not a ton of Azathoth, where Azathoth's price point is almost near $4. There are a lot of walls. You can see right off the gate, there's a 13 and 15 wall for this card. So it'll be a while before this card bombs out. You got a 28, 21. I mean, Child's Valhalla was cracked heavily by a lot of stores, vendors, and Yu-Gi-Oh players. But still, it's for being a $4 card, almost a $4 card, after being cracked so heavily, is pretty interesting. Next, guys, Evenly Matched. A card in which is phenomenal, but I feel like Evenly Matched, and I always feel like this, it's an unsung hero throughout the meta. Looking at Evenly Matched for Megatins, it's stabilized roughly around $28. Quickly going to $29 though. Original print Evenly Matched from Circuit Break, well, the market price is saying $32, and it's actually around $37. First edition's hitting near $38 to $39 for Evenly Matched. Now, this card was a side deck card, but we saw some decks in the meta throughout this weekend, top cut decks that main Evenly Matched, and every player that had this card in the main said the same exact thing. This card's a blowout card. Going second, Evenly Matched is the best card you want to draw no matter what. Playing against Thunder Dragons, Evenly Matched cleans the field of one card. Take those odds all day long. playing against any deck in the meta, you always want to have evenly match. And we're seeing this card make its way in the main deck more and more and more and more. And wouldn't be surprised if we have a Yu-Gi-Oh event, or even at Nationals, where every Yu-Gi-Oh player wants to go second, they get that extra draw to be able to kill their opponent and to be able to evenly match opponent as well. So that's the market watch for you guys today. Listen, let's do the common question of the day. EK says, or Ek, hey V, do you think Konami will ever allow different format tournaments like? I think this will bring a lot of players back into the game. Well, EK, I think they have already with Speed Duels. I think Speed Duels is Konami's way to have a Yu-Gi-Oh players come back in the game, whether it's old Yu-Gi-Oh players, current competitive Yu-Gi-Oh players, or casual Yu-Gi-Oh players. Speed Duels encompasses those three of those formats. My problem with Speed Duels right now is not the fact that Konami's not promoting it, because they're promoting the crap out of Speed Duels. That's not the problem with Speed Duels. What my problem with Speed Duels is, I want Konami to give players more reasons to play Speed Duels that are competitive. Give players that play competitive Speed Duels a regional invite at their OTS shops, or you can do 16-man Speed Duel regional flights at a regionals. That'd be amazing, allowing more Yu-Gi-Oh players to get their regional invite to Nationals by playing Speed Duels, or allow casual Yu-Gi-Oh players that play Speed Duels, give them more fun decks and more iconic decks throughout the show. I know we got the starter decks, but I felt like Konami could have really released Speed Duels with the set at the same time to allow Yu-Gi-Oh players to grab both of those and start working on meta decks, or casual players to start working on decks that they love and add more cards to it. So I feel like Speed Duels is the alternative format. As far as any other alternative formats, well, they're there, just most Yu-Gi-Oh players don't care about them. Generation Duels is absolutely trash, and I think Konami realizes this by releasing Speed Duels. And I feel like I would love if Konami started promoting a GOAT format, but they're not doing it. Well, they're not doing it directly, which with making cards like Scapegoat, Ultimate Rare, and making cards like Morphing Jar Super Rare. Konami is inadvertently promoting GOAT format, but I don't think Konami can run GOAT format tournaments. And if you're locals and you're running GOAT format tournaments at your locals, that's an unsanctioned event. And if you got the Konami's newsletter, you know that's not a good idea to even promote or talk about. It's kind of like one of those backroom kind of things that GOAT format players have to do. I recently started reworking my GOAT format decks, and I love GOAT format. I really wish Konami would run these events, because they are really fun. But unfortunately, Konami will not run these events, and unfortunately, this is something that Konami has asked to OGG, and has gotten denied several times, so I doubt Konami would bring this conversation in again. The best way for an alternate format, is what I'm trying to say, is Speed Duels, and hopefully Speed Duels changes and Konami does more to promote Speed Duels. And even though they're doing great things like Speed Duel celebrations, future OTS events that Speed Duels can be implemented on, I wish Konami could do more. Give us a regional invite is the main thing. I think a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players would get more excited about Speed Duels and consider it more seriously if we had more serious ways of playing this game at a higher scale, allowing more casual players with the release of more sets to build their decks that they like from the show, and just Yu-Gi-Oh players in general all over the place to trade Speed Duel cards. It'd be really fun to do, but until Konami fully rolls this out, it's gonna take a while before we have an alternate format in Yu-Gi-Oh be a playable format. Hopefully that answers your question, guys. I really appreciate you guys asking me questions in these videos, and if you have a question, like I said, please comment down below. Please make sure to subscribe button, like button, notification button. You paisanos have a good day.